I tell you the truth, anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing. He will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. And I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Son may bring glory to the Father. You may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it.
Hi, everyone. All right, for those who don't know me, my name is DyNishia Miller, and I'm going to be speaking to you all tonight about embracing challenges. And before I get into that, since many of you don't know me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm a senior communication major with a minor in Spanish. I'm currently the president of Indianapolis Student Government, a Greyhound ambassador, a Greyhound ambassador mentor, and a Google Guide. I was the treasurer of the Black Student Association for my sophomore and junior year, and I was on the speech team for my freshman and sophomore year. So eventually I want to become a motivational speaker. So I guess this is probably pretty good practice. But I'm 21 and I was born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And one interesting thing about me is I've never attended a non-religiously affiliated school or public school. So I went to a Baptist daycare, a Lutheran preschool. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten through 12th grade. Now I attend a Methodist university. With all of these differentiations, you may be wondering a little bit about my religious affiliation. But to give you a little suspense, we'll get to that a little later. Now to get into embracing challenges. I live by a couple of mottos. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and God doesn't give you what you can't handle. These two things, and a little bit of Law and Order SVU, are some of the reasons I've successfully gotten through three years of college. We are challenged on a day-to-day basis. Not all challenges are fun, and I'm sorry, but the older you get, the harder the challenges are. But not all challenges are big challenges. Many of us are challenged to even make ourselves get out of bed in the morning and go to class. We are challenged to actually make ourselves do our schoolwork. One of the main reasons I embrace challenges is because it's hard for me to quit or fail. I, as do most of us, have a fear of failure, coming up short and letting myself or other people down. This fear is one of the main things that motivates me to embrace a challenge. My goal tonight is by telling you a little bit about my own life and giving you examples of challenges I persevered through with God's strength and His belief in me. You will figure out ways to persevere through and embrace your own challenges. So first, I'm going to give you an instance of a challenge I've had here at UIndy. As I've already said, I was the treasurer of the Black Student Association for 2 years. This past March, ISG advisor, who many of us know, is Dan Stoker, asked me if I'd be interested in running for ISG president. I was caught completely off guard, and I literally did a double take. Now, some of you may or may not know this, but I'm a person who enjoys talking, and I probably do it too much sometimes. So I'm rarely at a loss for words. But at that moment, I was speechless. The thought of being a part of ISG had never crossed my mind. I'd never been in student government in high school or college. It's not that I didn't think it was interesting or unimportant, I just never thought of it as something I wanted to do. So when I was actually able to speak again, I said, huh? To which Dan replied, I think you should think about running because you're already a leader and very involved on campus. You have the respect of a lot of students and faculty, and because you know Nicole. Now Nicole, who is the treasurer of ISG, was my roommate my freshman year. So when I was actually able to string a full sentence together, I said, well, I'm a little caught off guard, but I'm definitely interested in learning more about it. Eventually I had a meeting with Nicole, and she told me a little bit about ISG's role on campus and all the opportunities they have to improve campus. What I learned sparked my interest, but I still didn't get the final answer. I had to weigh the pros and cons of being both involved in ISG or BSA. Unfortunately, I knew I couldn't do both. I was challenged to choose between the two. I saw BSA as kind of like my baby. This was something I helped to raise up and grow to be as successful as we were last year. I was able to do so many things and I learned so much with BSA. It was hard to think, I'm just gonna let my baby go and leave it. I didn't know if I could or if I wanted to. Around the same time, I started to feel my life getting really monotonous. Things were just too much of the same old with classes, extracurricular activities, including BSA. So I met with BSA advisor Leela Mixon to see what she thought about me possibly leaving. She thought being president of ISG was an amazing opportunity. She said it's a part of her job to help students to grow to become leaders and go on to bigger and better things. I was happy I had her support, but I was even happier that I had the entire BSA exec board's full support as well too. This was very encouraging. So I guess I got tired of some of the existing challenges in my life, so God saw fitting to bless me with some new ones. So if God wanted to give me this challenge, who am I to say no? So I made the decision to say yes. And I ran for and was elected as president of Indianapolis Student Government. And now today, I can't believe how much I love it. I'm making a change here on campus that's gonna last for years to come. I'm making changes for all of you students. And I never knew that I had such a passion for it, so I guess God knew what he was doing. Now tying this back to the original John 14 passage, I subconsciously asked God for a change with my then current monotonous challenges, and he gave it to me. He wants me to do his work in creating change on this campus. Now I'll get into some of my challenges abroad. Even before coming to college, I dreamed of studying abroad in Spain. Seeing all the possibilities of traveling abroad that UIndy offers was very exciting. As the semesters passed by and I became busier and more involved on campus, I started to think I wasn't going to be able to study abroad. I knew I couldn't do a whole semester abroad because I would miss my friends and family too much. Also, with what I wanted to do academically and my involvement on campus in extracurricular activities, a whole semester away wasn't something that was really smart for me. I was challenged to figure out if my dream could actually come true. So around October of last year, I saw a flyer about studying abroad in Seville, Spain, for either a semester or a summer. Now studying for a summer never crossed my mind as a possibility. So this gave me a small ray of hope. But I didn't want my hopes to get too high. So I emailed the contact on the flyer and she sent me some information. I also spoke to the staff member in the international division about the program. The information I was given wowed me. I would study in Spain for 5 weeks, take 2 classes, and get 6 credit hours for them, visit numerous cultural and historic sites. And because of this, I decided to apply. I was accepted and I was elated because I realized my dream of going to Spain was going to come true. So with the few scholarships that I was awarded, I was fortunate enough to be able to afford the trip. But my study abroad challenges don't end there. This was the first time I would ever travel and fly alone. The thought of this was terrifying to me, but I had to embrace it because it was a necessary challenge in part to studying abroad. I left for Spain on Thursday, May 23rd. I was scheduled to fly from Indy to JFK Airport in New York to Madrid, Spain, and finally I would arrive in Sevilla on the morning of the 24th. Enter challenge freakout number 1. My flight to JFK came in almost 2 hours after it was supposed to. This caused me to have to run through the huge JFK airport to try to catch my flight. I was so close to missing my flight that they were calling my name over the intercom. I was freaking out. This is my first time traveling. I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Whew. But fortunately, I made it to my plane. I was the last person on the plane, but I made it to the plane. The rest of my flights went fine. However, when I arrived in Sevilla, I went to my baggage claim. My bags weren't there. Enter freakout number 2. I tried to ask the baggage claim workers about my baggage, but that's when I realized they spoke no English. That was a reality check. I had to figure out what to say in Spanish. Before I went to Spain, I was barely conversational in Spanish, let alone fluent. So I had to figure out what I was going to say at the same time of not knowing where my bags were. So I told the workers, mis maletas no están aquí, which means my bags are not here. He pointed me towards the airline office where they spoke English fluently, fortunately. They told me that my bags were on the next flight in from Madrid. Because my flight from JFK was so delayed, they didn't have time to get my bags on the same flight to Madrid as me. I was told once they came in, they would be delivered to my house. So I was relieved. But that's not even the end of my travel challenges. So I had to take a cab to my house mother's home. But my taxi driver didn't know where he was going and ended up dropping me off at the wrong house. Enter freakout number 3. I knocked on the door of what I thought was my house, but it wasn't. So my American phone was not working, even though I contacted my phone company prior. I had no way of contacting anyone. I was extremely scared. This is when I thought, maybe I shouldn't have come to Spain. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe this is a sign things are going to go horrible. And I was so close to crying and just falling out on the ground, just like wanting my mom to come get me right now. That's pretty much impossible. But I had to tell myself to hold it together so I could figure out the situation. So I asked God to keep me strong and get me through it. So I knocked on a neighbor's door who spoke no English, and I asked if I could use his phone, and initially he said no. I tried to use the phone at a market and a cafe nearby, but they wouldn't let me. After the neighbor saw that I was still standing outside for a while, he took pity on me and let me use his phone. I went to a complete stranger's house, and although I know now that Seville is very safe, doing this was very dangerous. Eventually, I was able to get in contact with the school, and I was able to get to the correct address, which was coincidentally just diagonally across the street from where I was at the entire time. But my actual time in Sevilla was amazing, but it was a challenge. You don't know how big a barrier language is until you get into an environment where no one speaks the language you know. My summer there was one of the best experiences of my life. I was able to immerse myself in a completely different culture. I experienced so many things, from bullfights, flamenco shows, seeing places that are hundreds, if not thousands of years old, and eating a lot of helado, which is basically ice cream. My favorite parts about the entire experience were going to the classes. My professors were amazing and I truly learned so much. My house mother Carmen was so kind and an unbelievable cook. My time in Spain not only taught me about Spanish people, culture, and history, it taught me a lot about myself and the world around me. I hope that this was the first of many chances I have to travel the world. I would advise all of you who are thinking about studying abroad to just do it. In college, studying abroad is one of the easiest and most inexpensive ways you have to travel the world. If you don't want to or are unable to spend a whole semester abroad, do as I did and just spend part of the summer. It will be one of the best decisions of your life. Embrace the challenge of studying abroad. I'm going to make this challenge a little bit easier for some of you. So I encourage you to go to the Study Abroad Fair next Monday through Thursday, and it's from 11:30 to 1 p.m. right outside the dining hall. So if you are interested in studying abroad, I'm making this challenge for you so much easier. And tying this back into the original John 14 passage, throughout my abroad challenges, I asked God to keep me strong. He saw that I worked so hard to achieve my dream, so he helped me get through all of those challenges. Now we'll get into a challenge that I have with my future. A challenge I'm struggling with right now is what I want to do with my life after graduation in May. As I said earlier, I eventually want to be a motivational speaker, but you can't just graduate and become one. So I knew I had to figure out other possible immediate careers. Last year I was thinking the same, what am I going to do with my life question. That's why I decided to take on the challenge of doing an internship. My mom said I should look into human resources. She suggested this because she doesn't know me pretty well. And one of her master's degrees is in HR, so she thought I'd be a pretty good match for it. I realized that UIndy doesn't offer an HR minor, and HR classes don't start until the 300 level. And I didn't really want to jump into a 300 level class if I didn't even know I was going to like the subject. So therefore, I decided to go the internship route and take that challenge. So last semester, I ended up interning and becoming the Human Resources Intern for Girls Inc. National Resource Center. Girls Inc. is a nonprofit organization that strives to help girls be strong, smart, and bold. At Girls Inc., I learned so much. My supervisor challenged me to grow and taught me all the ins and outs of human resources. I figured out that I really enjoy HR, which was a huge relief to me, like I might have a job when I graduate. I felt that this internship served a dual purpose. I received the intro and basics of HR, but learning about all the amazing things Girls Inc. does helped my aspirations to eventually become a motivational speaker. Now that I know I like HR, I'm taking classes in it. So challenge yourself. Do internships or other programs that may help you with your future aspirations. And in tying this back to our original passage, God knows how hard I've worked these past years of college, and he's the reason I've gotten this far. I know and believe he will help and guide me to figure out what his plan is for me. So remember when I said I would get back to your possible question of my religious affiliation? Well, this is when I'll be getting into it. It's a challenge for me to be in front of you speaking right now. Even though I do it a lot, it's scary speaking in front of people, especially for 15 to 20 minutes. So when Stephen emailed me and asked if I would speak, I was initially like, whoa, how am I going to do that? I wanted this not only because of the length of the speech, but because of my religious background, or kind of lack thereof. See, I simply see myself as a Christian. I know that everything I am and everything I will ever be is because of God. And I know that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. As I said before, I went to Catholic school from K through 12th grade. And when you go through 13 years of Catholic school, in which you go to religion for 5 days a week, you can't help but that having some effects on your religious beliefs. Therefore, some of my beliefs are Catholic beliefs. However, some of my beliefs are not. In Catholicism, it teaches that if you're not baptized before you die, you're going to go to hell. Now, I haven't been baptized, so as a child, this terrified me. I thought that if I died at any moment, I would just go straight to hell. So as I grew older, and this is my personal belief, I thought that if I'm living my life the way I think God wants me to, doing the things He wants me to do, and carrying out His will, I don't think God's going to send me straight to hell just because I'm not baptized before I die. Now, this is not to say that I don't want to be baptized, because I do. However, I want to be baptized when I found a religion and a church that I truly love. I sat through probably over 1,000 masses, many Baptist services, a few non-denominational services, and even one Lutheran service. At most of these services, I found that I didn't really want to be there. They didn't really keep my attention, and I wasn't getting a lot from the message. And my mind was almost everywhere else but what was going on in front of me. As I said, these are my own personal beliefs, and I'm not downing any of these religions, because I know millions of people embrace and enjoy and get so much out of these messages every day. In the past, I would always get a little nervous and feel ashamed when I thought people would ask me about or wonder about my religious background. These feelings were a challenge for me. My family comes from a Baptist background. Growing up, we didn't really go to church on a weekly basis because we weren't getting things out of the message. We didn't want to go just to say we went. This is not to say that my family isn't religious, because we are. God's teachings guide us on a daily basis. My mother doesn't go to sleep without reading her Bible. And if for some reason she falls asleep, she'll wake up, whether it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and read her Bible. While my family may not attend church, all of us have a deep relationship with God, and we know we would be nothing and have nothing without Him. So I've decided that because of all this, I'm not going to feel ashamed anymore of what people may think. I'm not going to care what others may think, when the only person I have to answer to is God. But as I have gotten older, I realize I want a stronger relationship with God. I've been challenged with trying to figure out ways to do it. I started to listen to more gospel music, read the Bible. I even have the verse of the day app, which sends Bible verses to me every day. But I know that the main way I can strengthen my relationship with God is going to church. So my current challenge is figuring out and finding what religion or church I'm supposed to belong to, that I will enjoy going to, get so much from their teachings, and will help me strengthen my relationship with God. And tying this back to the original passage, the passage from John is most helpful with this last challenge I've just told you about. I believe in God and all that God is, but I think in order for me to do His work the way He wants me to, I have to build a stronger relationship with Him and a stronger belief in Him. I asked for His help to guide me to get to know Him better, and I think part of the reason I'm here right now is that this is part of His answer to my call for help. Now, if you haven't quite gotten yet, what I mainly get out of John 14, verses 12 through 14, is that whenever you're challenged and things are hard, just ask God for help, and He will get you through. Believe in Him, and He'll believe in you. I hope that what I've shared with you all tonight will help you. You can see that I'm still alive. I've survived all the challenges I've gone through. I've gone through many of them, and I'm stronger than ever. Now, all of you have already embraced so many challenges in life. One big challenge is that you're at UIndy right now. You've already taken the challenge to go to college, and many people haven't. So, by all of you sitting here and listening to me, you have helped me succeed in my challenge of speaking here. Don't run from challenges. Challenges will never go away, but we have to find ways to work with them and embrace them. Without challenges, there's no change. Now's the time for our reflection. Please get into small groups and discuss questions listed in your program. While you're in groups, one of my favorite songs, Catch Me by Mary Mary, will be playing. This is one of the songs that has gotten me through quite a few challenges.